William Haines defied the golden rules of old Hollywood by living openly, no matter the cost. But Haines wasn't alone. Behind the velvet curtains and the shimmering spotlights, a handful of Hollywood's brightest stars quietly refused to play the studio game, risking everything for a chance to be themselves. Some hid in plain sight, others took quiet stands that only the insiders ever saw. But now, for the first time, their real stories are coming out, because William Haines himself made it his mission to remember who dared to live with pride, even when the world demanded silence. The truth is about to be revealed. Early days. In the 1920s, William Haines broke every rule in the book. He was the star who would not pretend, the leading man who brought his boyfriend to the premiere. For most, the cost was too high, careers destroyed, reputations erased. But Haines, who once looked Louis B. Mayer in the eye and refused to hide, quietly watched for others like him. He took mental notes on every secret smile, every coded glance, and every whispered promise exchanged in Hollywood's hidden corners. There were those who, like Haines, refused to surrender to the make-believe off-screen. Ramon Navarro, the Latin lover of the silent era, was one of the few who kept his dignity intact, no matter how fiercely the press speculated or the studios tried to hush the truth. Navarro's faith, charm, and gentle stubbornness inspired a generation, though like Haines, his career would be battered by scandal. The quiet rebels. Then there was Alla Nazimova, the Russian actress who stormed Hollywood with her artistry and her affairs, male and female alike. Nazimova, decades ahead of her time, turned her home into a haven for the sewing circle, a nickname for Hollywood's community of queer women. Haines respected her bravado and her loyalty. At her famous Garden of Allah parties, secrets were safe, and pretense was checked at the door. Billy's close friend George Cukor, one of Hollywood's greatest directors, became another silent ally. Cukor rarely discussed his private life, but everyone in their circle knew he lived by his own code. He gave work and shelter to actors and actresses blacklisted not for their politics, but for their refusal to fit the mold. In a town of whispers, Cukor's home was a fortress for the misfits. And then there were those whose names only showed up in coded gossip columns. Men like Charles Lawton, whose marriage to Elsa Lanchester was a partnership, not a charade. Or Clifton Webb, whose acerbic wit and flamboyance dared anyone to ask him to change. These were the men Haines admired most, the ones who, even in shadow, would not betray themselves. Hollywood's double life. It wasn't just actors. Costume designers like Ori Kelly and set decorators like Harold Grieve found each other at midnight suppers, swapping stories about producers' ultimatums and the double standards that threatened everything. Sometimes William Haines would host discreet gatherings at his own home, where Joan Crawford would dance with whomever she pleased, and Jimmy Shields would serve drinks with a smile that let everyone know they were safe, at least for tonight. But courage came at a price. Ramon Navarro's career, once meteoric, dimmed as studio heads spread rumors and quietly shut doors. Alla Nasimova, after her greatest triumphs, was pushed to the fringes and saw her power wane. Even Cukor, with his legendary talent, felt the sting of studio blacklists when bosses needed a scapegoat. Yet, even as careers withered or transformed, these stars found ways to thrive. Haines's own reinvention as an interior designer became the template. If Hollywood would not let you shine on screen, you could build your own world, one in which you never had to hide. Legacy. As the years passed, William Haines kept a quiet tally of the brave ones, the rebels, the outcasts, the legends who dared to love without apology. He saw how the sewing circle endured through coded messages and loyal friendships. He saw how actors like Lawton, Webb, and Nazimova lived their truth, if not always openly, then at least with pride behind closed doors. But he also mourned the ones history forgot, the extras, the chorus girls, the up-and-comers whose names never made the headlines, whose only crime was living honestly for a night or a year until the town chewed them up. William Haines lived and loved out loud in an era of silence. He never let the world or the studios convince him to be less than who he was. And as the decades passed, he made sure to remember those who stood beside him, who refused to pretend even when it meant losing everything. Their stories, once traded in whispers, now stand as a testament to Hollywood's hidden heroes. Because behind every dazzling smile and every whispered rumor, there was always someone like Haines, someone quietly, stubbornly, gloriously refusing to play the part that wasn't real. If you found this journey into old Hollywood's secret history moving, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which hidden legends you want us to uncover next.